Hello, Andrew Cook.
Speaking.
Yes. Thank you. It's Brock.
Really, I understand that LILYBANK sent a representative today with a contractor to do some fire safety checks.
Yes.
What they told me is that you will use it
Oh,
to
yeah.
both the representative and to the contractor.
That's funny because
Your point of view on that.
well, that's funny because I filmed it, and that's a complete and utter downright lie. Firstly, I did not speak to the workman at all. I only spoke to John, who said he refused to speak to me only in text. He is acting like a child, a nasty little child, a little boy who kept saying, I'm not talking to you, I'm not talking to you, I'm not talking to you. When I said to him, why did you terminate the call to my partner? My partner got me the key to this place. He bought bedding, he cleaned the dirty shower, the toilet, the fridge. I was going to ask him about the bins, but he said he didn't want to talk to me. And this is something that I put in an email to you. Now, he has already abused me previously. I'm going to ask my banker, well, I say my banker, what I really mean is a bank assistant at Barclays, who rang him a few years ago when he locked me out of Ceylon Place. Because this seems to be a common occurring theme with me, doesn't it? Now, I went up to Beachy Head Suicidal the other night, and this was triggered by the fact that Monique Prescott had let me know. I'll just explain because the words are coming out a bit jumbly. I had received a text message from Jamie from 4 South Road in New Haven saying that he no longer had he'd basically disposed of my possessions, and then of course that prompted distress in me, and then he texted me to tell him to leave them alone, that he was blocking my number. And this is someone who knew me from primary school. This was my childhood best friend's house, and we need to well, anyway, so you received the email that I sent you under the Housing Act. Was it Part 7 of the Housing Act? And I forwarded you the video where I'm showing that because I'm not the only woman who has said this, complained about the rubbish outside. No one said about where the bins go or anything, and I forwarded you that video. But Monique Prescott, I couldn't speak to him because he doesn't want to know. He's walking away, and he just won't engage. He's telling me to text him.
You weren't abused him or the contractor.
No, I didn't abuse. No, I'm the person who's being abused here. The word abuse has got several meanings, and it can mean neglect. I'm being neglected. I've already had an abusive email from Grace Hill, whom is your senior, who's threatening me about actually sending text messages. So I've got that as evidence, and yet John is telling me to text him when we can't even have an adult conversation. So, as I said previously, a bank assistant phoned him to try and get me back into the property at Ceylon Place a few years ago. So this has been very long and drawn out abuse all round. So Grace Hill can't tell me that she's concerned about me being suicidal. I've got the boss. Do you know, we're not allowed to have alcohol in this house. Do you know what I did? I bought bottles of alcohol. I don't drink. I was going to use it for Dutch courage. And this is what I'm letting the solicitor know. And I said I do not consent to talking to you or anyone at the council about anything to do with the court hearing, because it's nothing to do with any of you. It's confidential. I've already said there's been breaches of GDPR, deliberate breaches of GDPR, and abuse, this constant abuse of me and my basic human rights, because you bullied me out of Eastbourne. You got the police to beat me out of my flats when I received news my father had died, and all of that. And now Jamie and Monique isn't even doing the things. She didn't even respond to the email that I sent her about she's meant to be looking into the discretionary housing payment. Well, that doesn't matter anymore because this landlady should be going to prison. You know, and she hasn't looked into the payments for my the garage at Rockhurst Drive, which the council sold. So she hasn't done any of the things that she was meant to do. She's left her position now, so that's left me up in the air with all these traumatic problems. There's no support, absolutely no support from anyone. And this is why it's had a knock-on effect with me keep thinking that my partner is behind all of this. Because it causes, if you're gonna abuse my partner, if you're gonna hang up on him, and he tells me that he put in a complaint to Sally Fisher and all these others about John, and John's abusing me. You know, this abuse is this constant threats. When you, the council, wouldn't even do what the law courts were telling you. When the law is telling you that I, by law, should have a roof over my head. And Grace Hill, that email that she sent me is going to the solicitor because she's threatening me because the council weren't even acting by law. So my plan was to kill myself yesterday because I came closer and closer and closer and closer to doing it. You've made it easier and easier and easier for me. The legal ombudsman is already investigating why you and Law Stop took the roof over my head in New Haven. Because that's had a knock-on effect everywhere else with the Premier Inn and me going to hospital. I've missed an appointment for a scan at the hospital because of what you've all put me through. And then because I've been losing blood due to stress and I didn't even realise that I needed a blood transfusion. And then to see my brain-damaged, crippled sister who's talking about life expectancy, and the other tenant here who said she wanted to help me. There was weird behaviour from the moment I moved in here. Two girls said they wanted to help me get into a flat. But at the same time, I was asked, do I suffer with schizophrenia? No, I don't. Which is a strange thing to ask someone that you don't know. But, I mean, I just had a PCSO ring me up about, because I've complained about the cycling, being nearly hit by cyclists. And he's the one who prosecuted the cyclist who hit the hit and run cyclist who hit a 3-year-old. And he actually told me he was the one who prosecuted the one who did that. It was in the Herald. But you get the Herald to slander me. I've had the legal ombudsman try to get me compensation because of the council and the police trying to put me away. Because this Grace Hill is the same Grace Hill who said that Belmore Road was a suitable accommodation, an accommodation where I recorded with a dictaphone me being attacked, and I was attacked one time to the point where I thought I'd be killed. So Grace Hill is complicit in putting my life in danger. And I was close to killing myself. Yes, I really was very, very close to going and finishing myself yesterday. Very, very close. And she's emailed me, oh, you need to go to, the very people that have done this to me that couldn't give a damn. And don't do this and don't do that and don't send text messages and we might take your room from you and all this business. So I've sent an email. I don't need to tell you this because it's no one else's business unless I make it so, but I forwarded her email to the solicitor saying I'm being threatened with having this room taken from me. So you're still all, even to this day, even though I could have actually killed myself and I still don't know how my father died, you're still doing this to me. So you can't even do simple things. You can't even find out who and why my storage garage at Rockhurst Drive was sold. What was his name? The Brummie man. What's his name? Stuart Leach. Oh, well, it's your response. Oh, it's always our responsibility. It's never the responsibility of those who are perpetuating all of this. Even the letting agents have been telling my partner in no uncertain terms, using bad language, what they think of Eastbourne Borough Council. I've had council issues that I've wanted to complain about the smoking in bus shelters. Now, this PCSO that rang me a little while ago was very happy to speak to me, but as soon as I started speaking about the problems here, how I've been abused, how I went up Beachy Head suicidal, oh Bryony, I've got to go, couldn't wait to put the phone down on me. So so I would not be here without my partner. And we are, even when he is running around like a headless chicken for me, you are still abusing both of us, not just me, but him as well. He had to use his rent money. You lot funded one night at the Travel Lodge, one night out in the countryside, and Sally Fisher thought you thought you'd all done your bit. He'd borrowed money from his father. He's worried about his father's health, because they're elderly. And what you're doing to me and my partner constantly, you're going to end up killing us as well, So it's none of your business. I do not consent. I put in the text message to you. I put in the email verbatim, the text messages between myself and Luke and John. And Luke is they're disgusting. They're disgusting, these two. Oh, it's a lot of paperwork if you die. We've just had a death. It's a lot of paperwork. And that's what John said when I told him in a state, when the horrific trauma that I had been through on that day. I'd just been speaking to the Samaritans. I'd just seen my crippled, brain-damaged sister. And then I'm getting more this attitude. And Luke, who didn't even care about dangerously scalding hot showers, so hot that the metal, I had to throw it down. And then it went freezing cold. Well, it went from freezing cold to boiling hot, and now it's so-so. It's okay now. But his attitude, Luke's attitude was, oh, well, we technically speaking, you lot should be on the streets. You're all just doing us a favour. If we complain about bed bugs crawling on me, which I did, I showed photographs, and then you made me street homeless. And where do I go, Beachy Head? You get the police to beat me up. It's... And, you wonder why I refer to all of you as the same thing, because you're all in the same boat. If I'm using the same names, tarring you with the same brushes, you wonder why. Because you were my housing officer when you were sending me out of the town. I'm paying storage in several places, and I'm paying storage for other people's unsanitary waste because of John Tutty, who told me he had slept rough. He was going to get me into a 1-bedroom flat. Oh, I've heard it all before. I'm going to get you into a 1-bedroom flat. And then, I tell him that the kitchen is being flooded by the tap. The plumber told me the washer on the tap had gone. And what does he do? He types up a fraudulent Section 184 saying that I broke all the utilities that I had complained about. Oh, Felicity and Karen told me to do it. You know, that's a housing officer who told me he'd slept rough. So I'm using very, very, very polite language for you because I am paying storage for other people's unsanitary waste, where I found a hospital towel, an incontinence pad thrown in with family photos, vintage photographs. And you were all having a laugh last year, weren't you, Andrew? Weren't you? When you and Lawstop collectively bullied me, you had me beaten out of my SDR flat. I get news my father's died. And you say, it's too complex. So that's what you put on record, and I'd like that in writing, please. If you could send that to me, I'd like it in writing to send to the solicitor. Why you had people go into my flat from Pelican Storage in New Haven to take the things out of that flat against my will. It's SDR Living. I would like that in writing, please. And Monique Prescott, as I said, she hasn't done the things she said she would do. People... Charlotte Dawes, the BHT floating support worker, the second support worker who closed my case, said to me, along with Monique, that the people at Jamie and Jackie at South Road in New Haven have still got my things. They have still got them. They're just a few bags left over and they're with other people's things. Now, I had already emailed the council at the time with a picture, and I've sent it to my solicitor, with someone else. One person had their things right up to the ceiling, stacked to the ceiling. Now, if they can have that, why can't they just look after a few bags? Because Grace Hill has emailed me to say we have no responsibility over your possessions. I've still got the text messages between myself and Jackie from 4 South Road on the 4th of March where she's asking for the address, 68 Whitley Road. She's asking for that address so that she can bring the possessions over. And that was the very day that this landlady, who should be going to prison, first attempted to illegally evict me, and all because of a breach of GDPR from all of you lot for what you've put me through. You don't contact adult social care because you care. You do it to bully, threaten, harass. That's what I got from Louise Corp. And that's why my partner, the day, it was because of Louise Corp that I missed an appointment for a scan at the hospital. Because you lot weren't doing what the judge told you to do, which was provide me with accommodation because I had been unlawfully locked out of the house at Whitley Road. You hadn't helped me with housing benefit. You got these BHT people to open cases, close them. And, you know, I can now see why people are driven to insanity, kill themselves, get dementia, the whole lot. All because you lot are not doing your jobs. You are exploiting people like me. You bullied me out of Eastbourne. It took me a while, even though it seems pretty obvious, why you got people from New Haven Storage, Pelican Storage, to take things out of my flat at SDR in Eastbourne, and then when I'm getting help with Lawstop, you couldn't make any of this up. The emergency accommodation team in Cornwall, wait for it. The emergency accommodation team in Cornwall rang SDR Living to ask if they'd take me back. But they didn't realise in Cornwall that you lot, Monique Prescott, Sally Fisher had the police beat me out of my brand new flat at SDR. And even this idiot John here, and I'm using polite language, this vile abusive man who locked me out of Salon Place when a banker tried to get me back in. Even he said, "Oh, SDR Living, oh," because everyone knows that place has got a bad reputation. The hotel manager of the Lansdowne tried to get me back in there. He said, "We get complaints about that place all the time, but you couldn't even handle my father's death. Couldn't handle that, couldn't handle it. No, the GP couldn't, no one could. Pathetic. Everyone loses a parent. Everyone loses a parent. Oh no, it's too complex. It's too complex. Oh no, I can't deal with that. Oh no, she's lost a parent. I don't want to hear it. Right, let's get people in to take the stuff out of her flat while she's wandering the town in her nightwear, in distress. I still don't know how my father died. I've told Barwells. They call the police. The police are the ones who did this to me. So, yeah. I think I've covered it really, haven't I? So you've left me with so many problems, so much trauma. How wonderful, how wonderful. You wouldn't...
I'll be back in touch today, yeah, because obviously there are some issues where you're staying at the moment. The question today, I think, is whether the provider is going to end your occupancy at the property.
Andrew, the issues, as I've just told you, you see, I'm just wasting my breath. I know I'm wasting my breath. So there isn't really much to say. I've just told you that this man, they can't behave. These two little boys, John and Luke, could not handle the fact. He put a letter under my door saying that my partner supporting me was unacceptable behaviour, buying me bedding, cleaning the shower, doing all of these things. I had no information about the bins, and you are all now threatening me again. You're threatening me again to when my partner's actually had a caring role for me through Care for the Carers. I would not be here without my partner. And because of the way you have all abused me and pushed me to suicide, Darren Webb, my partner, is the reason why I'm still here. And because of your abuse to how you've treated me, Andrew Cook, and all the others, and Sally Fisher, you've made me think that he, my partner, is behind all of it. All this gaslighting. This is why this landlady, this 85-year-old landlady, needs to go to prison, because it puts the message out there that abuse of the vulnerable and the disabled are crimes against, these are crimes against humanity, okay? If you're still not even addressing the issues I've just put to you about the bins outside, which I had no information about. This involves you, the council, the bins, the recycling. Okay, I've been putting my recycling bags all got stacked up. I sent you the video, so unless you've responded to me to that email that I sent you with verbatim, the text messages between us and the text messages between myself and John and Luke. Luke even lied, saying that he'd spoken to my partner. He hadn't. So
I'll be back again today, Dominic. I just wanted to talk to you really about what happened today, just to get your point of view, which you've given me.
Well, I filmed it. I've filmed it. I'm just checking it. I'm playing it back. Because I want the evidence of what exactly has been said, because obviously I know what I said, and I want to go through it to see exactly.
Just to get your point of view, yeah, which I will forward on.
Andrew, you're not actually responding to the concerns that I've sent you. So I'm treating this phone call as intimidation because you're telling me that John has just said that I've been abusive, which is an outright lie because I filmed it. It's not point of view. I filmed it, Andrew, and you are being investigated by the legal ombudsman for what you put me through last year. And you and Grace Hill are intimidating me right now, knowing my suicidal, fragile state. I still don't know how my father died. So you are actually intimidating me right now.
That's certainly not my intention.
Well, you are, because of what you've already put me through. I have got so many problems because of all of you. You haven't sorted out. You haven't told me, unless you have sent me an email this morning, which I haven't checked. No one has told me about the rubbish bins or the recycling. And yeah, all right. Okay. Because I still, because of what you've done, because of what you've all put me through, I don't know if I'm going to want to make it through this. Now, I have told you that Monique Prescott has left her position and she is not doing what she said she would do, because she's left her position, but she was meant to, I've just told you several times that she was meant to look into the discretionary housing payment and the storage, my garage, but which the council, I pay the council for storage at the garage at Rockhurst Drive, which no one had told me had been sold. It was, again, Barclays Bank. There you go. It was Barclays Bank. How wonderful Barclays Bank are. Because this corporate entity phoned John. They phoned John on my behalf to say, we've got a vulnerable customer and you've locked her out of Salon Place. Now I'm being abused again. And it was Barclays Bank who found out that my storage, that the payments had stopped. Now, Monique has not looked into any of these things. She's...
I'm going to have to end the call because I do have to move on to another call I've got to make.
Right.
I will call you later today.
Are you going to answer me, though, about these things, though? Because I was very close to killing myself because of all this stress. I have got so many problems because of what you've all put me through. Because you are threatening, you have not done what the law told you to do, and now you are just harassing me. That just like the text message from Louise Corp, who was away on annual leave when Monique had just sent me to St Mary's House and she wasn't even there, and they put on record that I'm not engaging. So please stop playing games, because I was very, very close to killing myself, all right? This is ongoing. This is ongoing, and you're going to end up killing me, if not with the stress, then otherwise. I've got bottles of alcohol in this room. We're not supposed to have alcohol here. I don't drink. I was going to use it for Dutch courage. You know, when I do something like that, that means I know that. I will call you. Right. Well, are you going to look into all these issues? That's all I want to know. Are you going to look into... In
terms of your accommodation, that's what I will be doing. Thank you.
No, that's a threat then. That's a threat.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, because you did not act lawfully. Are you going to look into the garage payment? Are you going to look into my storage and the DHP? There you go. Andrew Cook is not going to do that. So this is going to the solicitor. This is Andrew Cook at Eastbourne Borough Council, where you heard all of that. Beaten out of my flat as a response to my father's death. Then with the help of Law Stop, because Brighton Housing Trust passed me to Law Stop before I got this solicitor, because he's the only one who deals with legal aid in any of these areas. He's out of town. This is how tight it is. This is how evil it is. So he's not looking into my DHP. He's not looking into the garage. He's not responding to the issue with this. He's refusing to look into the issue with the bins, the recycling. They want to basically get me out of Eastbourne. So you've heard it here on my YouTube channel. They want to bully me out of my flat. After everything I've just told you, I'm a survivor. I've shown you the alcohol that I bought to go up Beachy Head for Dutch courage. And this is why I knew there was something not right about these two girls. Why would they say, I think she's schizophrenic? Well, they asked me if I was schizophrenic under the guise of wanting to help me when I hadn't even asked them for help. And the other one, and I feel sorry for her because she's in physical pain, and she's saying that the other one threatened to beat her up, and yet she's gone into her room. This is what they're like in these places. But anyway, there we are. So I am being threatened and bullied right now, right this moment. But you saw the you've seen the evidence, because I'm going to upload that before I upload this. So there we go.